welcome you to the northwest side of Indianapolis. We are thrilled to add a little high school soccer to our full plate of sports activities in the month of September here on the IHSAA Sports Network. Two independent Northside Catholic rivals clash as Brebeuf Jesuit plays host to Cathedral, two teams that are previous state championship squads. It is your broadcast crew from the Indy 11. My name is Greg Rakestraw, joined by my crime partner for life, Brad Hodder. Thank you so much for joining us here on the IHSAA Sports Network. This does not happen without a couple of great sponsors. So thanks to our friends at 317 Barbecue and 317 Barbecue. For the best in both, go to Broad Ripple and check out 317 Barbecue and 317 Burger. The address, Guilford and Westfield in downtown Broad Ripple. And while you're in Broad Ripple, make sure you check out Nando's Restaurant. It's Mexican and Brazilian cuisine, family-owned and operated, serving fresh and locally sourced ingredients. Thank you so much to Eddie White for gracing us with his presence this evening. Always appreciate it. Good to see him. And, of course, our connection with the Indy 11 and this Brebeuf program would be Angela Berry White, who did a great job as our primary analyst for Indy 11 women's matches this summer. When she was not available, Brad did a tremendous job on 3 matches as well. And, Brad, you grew up playing soccer on the north side of Indianapolis. What is it like to see this facility and 2 teams of this caliber at this level?
There is something that is so special about game days in the fall. And when you put 2 iconic programs together on the same field, it just amplifies it.
Well, we were talking about this as well before we took to the air for the broadcast. There are wonderful high school coaches across the state of Indiana. I'm not sure you'll find 2 more overqualified coaches to coach this level than what you see here. You've got, again, Angela Berry White that played at George Mason University, was the North Central Athlete of the Year, grew up playing at the JCC down the street and at North Central High School. And Mark Beringer is in his 28th year as the girls soccer coach at Cathedral. He was the team captain on the 1988 Indiana University National Championship team. Mark is the freshman religion teacher at Cathedral High School. This is his avocation after teaching all day long on the hilltop.
And, you know, you start looking at those connections, Northside High School soccer and everything. Back when I played club with Dynamo, we were in the same club. We weren't on the same team, but we were in the same club. So I think his nickname at that time was Sparky, and he was a guy that would not lose a ball in the air.
And every time you hear that, again, anybody that played in the 80s or 90s around here knows him by that nickname. It's like Mr. Beringer these days. Mark has tried to move on from that a little bit, but yeah, that's a little old school reference for Cathedral. They were in the 2A final just 3 years ago in 2020. They now play in the largest classification in terms of 3A. Last year they lost in the regional championship, did Cathedral. Brebeuf at the time won 2A, which was the largest classification a handful of years ago, with the Martin sisters being the dominant pair for Angela's team. Of course, we saw Aaliyah have the game winner in both the semifinals and the finals.
Amazing
for the
goals.
W League Championship. And Aaliyah, unsure whether she's going back to the NWSL, going to keep working kind of full-time and try to play with the Indy 11 amateur side for at least one more summer. Riley is back on the bench now as an assistant coach at Brebeuf Jesuit. People may not know this. They know your background playing professionally or coaching at DePaul University. You were the women's coach for some time at Rose-Hulman as well. My guess is these were a couple of schools that you recruited on a semi-regular basis.
Absolutely. You know, when I was at Rose-Hulman, it was just the 2nd or 3rd year that they had women in the school. So it was like an 80-20% male to female ratio. So those first couple years, if you could play, if you wanted to play, we were taking you. And then as we started to grow as a program, now we start getting up to these higher level high schools.
You hear the wind kind of rustling our microphones in the background. There is very much a welcomed temperature and atmospheric change over what we have had over the course of the last 4 or 5 days. The cold front has come through. We are hopeful that the showers that might kick up tonight are going to be a little bit east of here. But all of a sudden, this is a north-south pitch. The west is behind us with the setting sun. There is a significant breeze that is coming across the pitch tonight. Other thing just to note, too, and again, these ladies at Brebeuf are used to this, it almost seems rare that you're playing a match on grass these days. We comment about that when doing the Indy 11 matches at the high school level. It's more and more turf as well. Good to see a separate soccer facility here. Football is right behind us. They can play on the turf if they need to. We're on the natural grass tonight.
Yeah, you know, it's the natural grass surface is awesome. You love to play on it as a player, but when you start looking at the finances and everything on an administrative level and the ability to play a game in the rain versus canceling a game in the rain, that the turf makes so much sense for schools to get to it.
Let's talk about some key pieces in tonight's match. Josie Studley leads this Brebeuf team in terms of both goals and assists. She's a fourth-year varsity contributor. She's right there in the center of your screen wearing number 17. 6 goals and 5 assists on the season. On the flip side for Cathedral, let's focus on Abby Beasley. 6 goals and 4 assists. And for this Cathedral team, they have several seniors that got playing time as a freshman. Again, when Cathedral made that 2A championship game, it was played at Fishers High School last year. Catherine Klein stands out of that group. Again, she is on your screen. She's got the captain's armband wearing number 14. Catherine has 8 assists in 9 games already this season.
That's unreal. You look for that kind of consistency throughout the year. If she can maintain that level for another month, great things are in store for this Cathedral team.
So again, Cathedral coming in at 5-3-1. Brebeuf Jesuit at 4-3-1 on the season. They were winners last night, 9-0 over Covenant Christian. Let's note that was kind of a round number birthday, if you will, for Angela Berry White. It was her 150th win here at Brebeuf Jesuit High School. So the starters being introduced for the Braves of Brebeuf Jesuit. Lily Blackman is the starting goalkeeper for Brebeuf. Allie Arena, Ashley Preston, Josie Skinner, Elena Giroulas, Ella Shemish, Rowan Pearl, Josie Studley, Leah Berg, Ari Edwards, and Elise Barth rounding out the 11-player starting lineup for Angela Berry White. We don't have kind of these official keys that you and I spend literally dozens of minutes going over for an Indy 11 broadcast, but what are you kind of looking for from both these teams right off the jump, Brad?
Well, in a game like this, these are 2 programs that have had each other on the radar, and that's a game that you circle on the schedule. So now is it emotions? Can you settle into your game? You've gone through these 90-degree weeks. You got a cool temperature here, 2A, 3A. All that stuff is out the door when they get on the field, and now it's trying to figure out, can we get into our game plan before they do?
All right, with that, we'll take a quick timeout. We'll come back with the opening kickoff coming up in just a matter of moments as you're watching Brebeuf and Cathedral Girls Soccer here on the ISC Sports Network. Fall means football, and on the ISC, we've got you covered all season long. Catch our broadcast live on television on MyNDTV 23 and Comcast 81, as well as streaming on ISCSportsNetwork.com. With a subscription to ISC for only $4.99 a month, you get access to our entire library, viewable anytime, anywhere, on our website or on the ISC app. Don't miss a single broadcast. ISC Sports Network. Football lives here. And gets the highlights. Down he takes the look away, and he puts it away. The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC, local lives here. I want to take this moment to thank our tremendous ISC Sports Network crew. Thanks to Matthew, Becca, Buzz, Vince, everybody involved with our broadcast this evening. And this is the first of a couple of late additions to our soccer schedule that Brad and I are going to be fortunate enough to kind of work together. Again, next Tuesday night, we're going to go to Kokomo because we're going to see a kid that's going to play in the NBA in a couple of years play some high school soccer.
That's incredible.
Flory Badunga, who was able to play at the University of Kansas, thought to be one of the top 5 high school basketball players in the nation this year. Young man that is from the Congo, grew up playing soccer, said, you know what? I want to play 1 year of high school soccer in addition to playing high school basketball. He plays up top at 6'9". The kid's got some skills. I would encourage you to go check out Cal Nedrup's Twitter feed of him heading a ball home in a match last week. We're going to go to Walter Cross Field for Kokomo and Logansport next Tuesday night. Brought to us by Coca-Cola of Kokomo. That's here on the ISC Sports Network. Brad, final thoughts for this one goes live.
I can't wait. I think you got all this pregame jitters, whether you're a player, coach, or fan, because of how much this game means.
Amaya Usher standing over this ball for Cathedral. She's got 4 goals and an assist on the season. This is very much a senior-laden Cathedral squad. Good number of seniors as well. This is what you expect every year, 2 programs of this ilk. I want to thank Ted Hampton, the great director of athletics, Brebeuf Jesuit, for having us out tonight, and certainly hope you appreciate a little Wednesday evening soccer here on the ISC Sports Network. We will play 2 40s tonight, counting down in both halves. And we are underway from the northwest side of Indianapolis. Step on the ball is Josie Studley. She's had double-digit goals each of her first 3 years playing for Brebeuf Jesuit. One thing that we noticed in watching the JV game is that there is a bit of a wind current on those crosses and on those balls. They'll be going kind of to your left as you're watching this match tonight. Again, this is the standard north-south alignment. It is kind of a southwesterly breeze, so there's going to have to be a little physics being done in the head in terms of exactly how you want to weight that ball tonight.
Well, I love the thought. You take a look at Cathedral off the kickoff, is looking to grab a little bit of field position, pushes it out to their left. Brebeuf gathers it, gets it up to Studley in the middle field. Immediately, she looks to exploit the space on the weak side.
Bit of a giveaway here in the defensive third. Opportunity for Brebeuf. Charging forward, toe poke and a goal. The Braves are on the board in less than a minute. Allie Arena gets her 3rd goal of the season. Brebeuf leads it 1-0.
What a great effort in the box. The ball just sort of squirts through. She knows she's not going to be able to get full contact to it, so she slides in there, little toe poke underneath the keeper. What a start for Brebeuf.
And again, even at this level, as Angela Berry-White is all smiles, as well she should be on that sideline, you make a mistake against either one of these teams in the back like that, other team's going to pounce on it immediately.
Yeah, and you look at how that came about as well. It was almost out of nothing, and then it just winds up. And again, you're not going to be able to get there. The keeper's coming off the line. You're not going to be able to get there full stride, so it's just this little outstretched toe poke.
How does a goal this early in the match kind of change how you play the match, or is it frankly so early that it doesn't have much of an effect on it at all?
It has an effect psychologically, but as far as the tactics of it, you haven't even started, so you haven't seen are our tactics working, not working. You got a goal that comes right off of the opening whistle, and you don't have the ability to just say, okay, we're going to plan B, because nobody was preparing for a goal in the first 50 seconds coming into this.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition, right? Lily Blackman will be kicking this one off. There you see the sidelines for the Cathedral bench. And there is Lily. Lily likes to play that ball to a teammate to hit the reset button. And again, watch that ball take off. Obviously, even though this is a little more forgiving than, say, the turf would be, other than the sprinkles we got last night and this morning, this field has not seen much in the way of water over the course of the last 10 or so days. So the ball will take off rather quickly in tonight's matchup. Kira Bradford steered that ball towards the middle for Cathedral. Flying down the flank, trying to get to the corner flag, and doing so successfully is Abby Beasley. Again, Abby with 6 goals and 4 assists. Bradford sends it in. Defender simply lifts that one back towards the middle of the park. That's Shemish that does that for the Braves. Klein. Brebeuf with a bit of a longer spell of possession to kind of settle things. Quickly, the Irish get 5 behind the ball and are racing a 6th up.
Yeah, you love the way that Cathedral just defended that. The ball starts working down the right touch line, and immediately you see 5 jerseys just starting to work to squeeze that space.
Again, as we have given you to some degree the background of the 2 coaches, communication, formation, strategy, those are going to be well done by both of these sides tonight.
And the interesting thing about it is they both looked like they were coming out in a 4-3-3, but you can play a 4-3-3 1,000 different ways. You know, do you hold people back a little bit, a withdrawn striker, and it looks more like a 4-4-2? Where does your skill set lie? What are the areas you're trying to exploit? What have you picked up on film in your opponent? And maybe you want to stretch some things to isolate some players?
Usher on the cutback, but couldn't get past the defender. Senior in Ella Shemish. Long distance ball that kind of got held up by that wind.
Hey, you don't mind that either. You take a look at a shot cross from about 30 yards out. A couple things. You start just asking questions of the back line and of the goalkeeper. And the more questions you start asking, the more solutions you start expecting from the defender. So now, does the Brebeuf backs, do they start stepping up a little bit higher, knowing that they're going to cross or take a shot from distance?
Ball is off the boot of a Brebeuf player, but it'll be tracked down in the field of play. That's Eliza Langfelt. Again, she is one of the handful of seniors that were a part of that state finals appearance a few years ago for this Cathedral squad. 3 previous state championships for the Irish. Back in the one-class soccer days. Soccer not become a classed sport until about 13, 14 years ago, and that's simply by the nature of number of schools that play the sport and the exponential growth in the sport that we've experienced at all levels. Even before Lionel Messi got to Inter Miami, there was a pretty good growth kind of spurt that our sport was going through. But in a span of about 10 years, it went from a 1-class sport to a 3-classification sport.
Yeah, you look, and through the whole time, you know, my youth growing up in Indy and high school and college in the area, and every year and every couple years there was a conversation, hey, it's grown to a different tier, it's grown to another level. And you think, okay, there's got to be a ceiling at some point, but it just continues to explode as a sport.
And I try to put this in perspective because, again, if you're not of our generation, and since I say our.
Yeah, what is our generation?
Brad's in his 40s like me, right? Right. So anyway, the first year, the first year that soccer was an official IHSAA sport was 94-95. Now, it was obviously played here and in Evansville, other parts of the state, and there was a pretty strong coach association that ran their own state tournament. But officially, this will be the 30th IHSAA state finals that take place coming up this fall.
Amazing. And you talk about, the state association, the Capsalises, the Evansville, Bloomington, South Bend, the growth of this. It was all these independent organizations that kind of kept everything going and gave young players at that time a chance at state tournaments and all conference honors.
Hit from distance, and already we have seen that twice for Cathedral. So do you think that's something they've seen on tape, that they're going to try to maybe go against a bit of a smaller keeper in Blackmer, just one player being a bit eager in these opening few minutes?
Well, I think the one part with it, too, is you kind of take what they're going to give you. I might not be the best three-point shooter, but if you're going to keep giving me open looks, I'm going to keep throwing it up there. Then when you come out to defend me on the three-point line, that's when I look to exploit and attack the space behind you.
After the first couple of kicks were taken by a center back, Lily says, I got this, I'll distribute, and gets the ball all the way to midfield. You have a good chance you probably heard of Lily's dad doing something similar to what I'm doing right now. Her father is Rob Blackman, the radio voice of Purdue University Athletics, and Rob's a pretty fair athlete in the other type of football in his day, as he was a wide receiver at the University of Evansville. Ball played off the foot of Josie Skinner for the Braves, and the restart is quick for the Irish. Usher will play that ball back to Bradford.
Good combination.
That takes a tough turn. Right idea by Bradford, just defender got there in time. Not only that, she played it off of Usher. That was well done by Rowan Pearl. 5'10" center back for the Braves. It'll be a goal kick coming from Brebeuf Jesuit.
You can see on that little interplay here in the right corner, just the soccer IQ. Sometimes you get into these places where I've got the ball, I'm just going to serve it into the box. But that was reading the defenders. When the defender backed off and dropped into the middle, they started to combine and look for a better opportunity to drive the ball across the box.
Ball played up top. It's Leah Berg, 2 goals and 2 assists on the season, and that'll be a foul. First one wasn't really seen whistled in the early stages of the game. Restart coming here for Brebeuf Jesuit. And tonight's match is made possible by our friends at both 317 Burger and 317 Barbecue. The streets are open in Broad Ripple. Get and join the good folks at both 317 Barbecue and 317 Burgers. Again, Guilford and Westfield in downtown Broad Ripple. That is the address for fulfillment. Look at this ball sent in. Yeah, you can, from that distance and with this wind, you're in Sergio Pena range, I think, at this point. Maybe we should update that to
that's you and I.
Aiden Quinn range. Trying to make as many Indy 11 references in the broadcast as possible. In other words, you can have a hit from a much further distance maybe you normally would on a night like tonight.
Right, and that's a great ball, too, because, you know, you take a look. If the keeper doesn't handle it cleanly, you've got a wave of players that are charging into the 6 to tap that away.
Good work by Allie Arena. Again, she is the goal scorer. Brebeuf, that coming some 60 seconds in. She pounced on a turnover along the back line. Throw in coming here for the Braves. We see clouds kind of developing behind us. And
why don't you start that talk?
we hope doesn't have an impact on tonight's match. Amazing that we have less protection from the rain than we do at Carroll Stadium for matches.
I didn't think that was possible.
I know, right? Goal kick coming here. This is Anna Waziak, that is the primary netminder for Cathedral. She replaces Kate Phillips. Katie is now a freshman at the University of Missouri. And we saw her in goal for a match for the Indy 11 last summer. The former Cathedral starting netminder. Played forward. Usher hustling on to track it down. Couldn't slide it past the defender, and Pearl goes to ground and draws the whistle. But it is clear to see Cathedral has great speed on the outside on both flanks.
Yeah, that was a nice ball that was played down the line, and you know, Usher, who's been playing mostly over on the right, makes this diagonal all the way across the field to catch up to the other end of it.
This Cathedral team, their losses, Noblesville, were seemingly a regular in terms of state championships as of late. Carmel and Rocky River of Ohio. That was a game that was played on Saturday. Labor Day weekend is always a big weekend for teams to kind of get out and travel a little bit. Again, the pressure by the Braves. Arena has two players to potentially cross it too. Look to go back post, right idea, just overcook that ball a little bit. Braves hustling to try to keep that in play. And it will be a corner. Give Elena Giroulas the hustle points for taking us to the corner flag.
Yeah, all of that was off of the press from Brebeuf. You know, you start running bodies at players, especially when there's a missed touch or the ball gets the defender to turn their back to the field of play, and you can create a lot of opportunities just with energy.
So on the corner. Tantalizing ball that time. It's kind of hung up in the air. It's Giroulas that plays it all the way back. And that was just kind of a ball to avoid pressure that time from Josie Skinner. Good work by the Braves. Klein will knock this back to midfield for a Brebeuf Jesuit throw-in. For Brebeuf, they have 3 losses as well this season. 2 of them in back-to-back matches against both potential postseason and certainly Circle City Conference rivals. It would be Chittard and Guerin Catholic. Suffered a loss against Penn in a rematch of a couple of state championship matches from a handful of years ago. And the Mike, the home of both IUPUI and Indy 11 soccer. Good work defensively by the Braves and Ella Shemish. For the Irish, it's Lauren Robertson. Keeps the ball in play. Again, have a hit from distance, and nobody is there back post. Blackman maybe could have been a little more aggressive, just kind of go get that ball and taking care of it. It is deemed, though, that it is going to be a corner, that there was a deflection on the way in. So a corner coming here for the Irish. And this Klein, she of the 8 assists. You can probably figure out where some of those come from here as the defender goes to the near side corner flag.
That's a nice ball.
Yep. Brebeuf just got to head to it in time. But the service from the corner flags has been excellent by these two teams. As the lights have been officially turned on as the clouds kind of build behind us. On the turn. Brebeuf over there in time. That's Elise Barth that swept that ball away from Amaya Usher. Right idea on that ball, but a little too much on it. So Wozniak able over to track that one down quickly for Cathedral. So 15 minutes in, the score has been the same for each of the last 14 minutes. The early turnover capitalized by the Braves. That ball sent down the hill. Might need a new one.
That one might be.
There might be
lost over there.
Might be a collection at this point.
Every soccer field in the state of Indiana feels like it has one of these. One area that just is like a magnet that just collects a bunch of mishit balls.
We have thankfully found another one for the restart. Yep, jersey tug there. Thought might play an advantage, but that was a tactical foul given by the Irish. Addie Wong with the foul given to prevent, and having already seen Arena's speed, realizing I'll go ahead and get the whistle here.
Yeah, not a bad foul.
Nope,
you know,
not at all.
Sometimes when you've got, they still had 3 numbers back, so sometimes when you've got numbers back in a little bit of your shape, I'm less inclined to applaud that. But you take a look at the pace that Arenas has been playing on, and you know that if she breaks through right now, even though there are 3 back, they're going to have to adjust their shape to come and jam up the space that she's attacking.
I want to thank our friends at Nando's Mexican and Brazilian Cuisine for sponsoring tonight's broadcast of the ISC Sports Network. If you have not been, it'll be your favorite new restaurant. Dangerous ball here that goes up and over the bar. There was not a touch there, and I think the offside flag was going to go up regardless. It will be a goal kick. Again, thanks to our friends at Nando's. Make sure you find them east of College, north of the Canal in Broad Ripple.
Just a great ball. I love that ball that's driven over the back line in a scenario like that just lands between the 12 and the 6. Puts a goalkeeper in a really difficult position as far as where they come out, or do they sit back? And then when you sit back, you're just hoping that the bounce is favorable for you.
Arena, right idea. Keep her quickly off her line. Now, indoor, this would be a different story.
Yes, it would. There'd be walls, there'd be a roof, there'd be all sorts of different parts of that story.
But in outdoor soccer,
yes.
Do you ever seriously threaten with a goalkeeper goal? Not in terms of like being called up into the mix, but like long distance?
Yeah. And you know, it's granted, my leg was a lot different back then, and I could put something on it, but, you know, you're impacted a lot by the elements. And so, you know, when you've got a strong wind and you know, you can drop kick and put that ball in that same kind of position that restart went. Oh, nice serve.
Well, you get the inference I'm making here. Because of the windy conditions, a little bit of a smaller pitch.
Right.
Somebody might flirt with that tonight.
Yep.
Because we've seen 2 restarts close to midfield that both have ended up somewhere close to the net. So
that's the thing. When you got that real strong wind and it's at your back. You know, you punt it, put it up there, let the wind carry it for a bit. But when the wind is in your face, you want to try and drive it a little bit lower, see if you can cut through it. So more of a drop kick, more of a sidewinder, just to see if you can get that just to slice through that driving wind.
Jaroulis has a hit from distance,
Wow.
and again, didn't miss by much.
What a hit.
Tell you what, and this is what we expected. Quality of these two teams is pretty impressive, Brad.
I am impressed with both sides. You look at the tenacity in the 50-50 balls on Brebeuf, and then their willingness to pull the trigger. Now, again, that wind has something to do with it. It'll be interesting to see, do they keep that same level of aggressiveness firing a ball from 30, 40 yards out. But the thing I really like about a Cathedral right now is that little ball that they play into the midfield, and then they're trying to pop and free up their pacey strikers up top just to see if they can find a lane to run into.
Good take to widen the field here, and again, try to play it and find a teammate. Arena speed again, quickly to it. See if we have a whistle here or not. No, we're going to play on. And again, a hit from distance, but keeper has that one lined up. It was Ari Edwards that collided with a Cathedral player. I think it was Robertson, the player, is a little slow to get up from the Irish perspective. But midway through this opening half, and it is so nice not to worry about a hydration break this evening.
I'll be honest with you, I thought it was never going to get below 90.
That ball, does it cross the touchline? Nope.
Oh, what a turn.
Say. Absolutely. Now trying to weave through traffic at the edge of the 18. And she finds a teammate to distribute to. The skill has been impressive, but it hasn't led to a threatening moment on goal yet. This is Bradford that gives chase. And Arena is there for Brebeuf. And a throw in coming here for the Irish. Clearly, Cathedral thinks they've got something on the throw here because everybody headed towards the 6. Good poke there. Good idea. That was Abby Beasley again, leading goal scorer with 6 on the season. Couldn't get with that one past Lily Blackman. And every team, male or female, has that one person that has a howitzer. That absolutely, you know, okay, you're a designated throw-in person. You're going to get that ball somewhere around the 6.
We played one team one time who had a guy that could throw it from midfield on the touchline from midfield into the 6, and he would wait. They would put him up at the substitution scorers table for the whole game, and then the coach would make a decision on when he was going to use him as a sub based on the score, based on the positioning in the game. It was crazy, and it was so effective as well.
Leah Berg's effort a bit too strong. Throw incoming, just this side of the corner flag for the Irish, going to be taken by Libby Lewis. Lewis with both the goal and an assist on the season. And because of these suddenly temperate weather conditions, there's not been a need to even think about a substitution just yet. And Brebeuf played yesterday, but weren't threatened by Covenant Christian. I'm sure they had some squad rotation.
Wow, that's unreal that Usher was able to save that ball from going out of play. Great ball by Bradford just to lead her into space.
Usher, right idea, just couldn't find a teammate. That was Ashley Preston that got in the way. And now, because Cathedral had some numbers committed forward, chance in the back from Brebeuf. Arena the touch just a bit too strong. For Cathedral, man, a player that slow to get up. And long distance ball. Is that a ball you want your keeper kind of going after there if you're Cathedral, or did she make the right play staying in the 6?
I think in that scenario, as soon as it left her foot, the way that it was coming off of it, you had this feeling like it's running out of bounds. So there's no reason to put yourself at risk. Now, if that becomes more of a 60-40 ball and she's got a chance to collect it, if it's not going to roll out of bounds, you may need to come out and just punch that thing outside for a throw-in.
Arena Edwards. Back to Arena. Good work out of the back by the Irish, but again, Preston is there. 50-50 balls right now in favor of the home team, as is the scoreboard, 25 minutes in.
Great movement.
Studley couldn't keep it at her feet. To Cathedral's credit, they have not given her many looks, really no threatening looks at this point for Josie, with 6 goals on the season through 8 matches played for the Braves. For Brebeuf, they will play twice coming up on Saturday. They will host a pair of Northern Powers in Carroll of Fort Wayne and Crown Point. Both make their way to Indianapolis for a pair of matches over the weekend. It's amazing to think that we are now 4 weeks into the girls' soccer season as of Saturday. And the pairings show for soccer is a couple of weeks away from this Sunday.
That's crazy how fast it goes.
And frankly, the season has been, well, the end of the season has been bumped up. The start of the season has been a little bit to try to create a little more space to get all these matches in. So the opener of the season was played on August the 12th. Of course, the finals will take place on October the 28th or the 27th, depending on the draw. At the mic. 6 state finals over the course of 2 days, 2 on Friday and 4 on Saturday. In the Indy 11 are hopeful to potentially sneak in a home playoff game at some point in time that weekend as well. Arena, good looking ball here, just too much on it. Right idea though. It'll be just to the near side of the corner flag, so throw and not a goal kick coming up here for the Irish. I want to thank our friends at 317 Barbecue and 317 Burger for the best in both. Go to Broad Ripple and check out 317 Barbecue and 317 Burger. 317, it's home. Lifted towards the midfield. Bradford was the intended target. And that's a foul. Bradford was just a bit late in getting there. And arena speed has been a problem for the Irish to deal with, and I'm sure that's the case for every team that plays this Brebeuf Jesuit squad this year.
Yeah, offensively and defensively. You love to see that kind of balance. You know, sometimes you've got players that they're only going to spend that energy going forward. She's just as hungry in pressing and defending. Oh, my goodness. I love that.
And, again, going for goal, that's recognizing, again, wins behind you. It's a bit of a shorter field. Have a hit.
Yep, you got it for another 13 minutes. Take advantage of it.
Winds have died down just a little bit, but still this is a pretty compact park. It's like matches that we see played on the baseball stadiums, except with no really nasty sod to deal with. Studley.
It's a nice little stadium.
Edwards.
Look out.
Good spell of possession here. Again, have a hit from distance, but defender closed it out. Arena stood up well by Klein. Nothing wrong in that.
She just keeps fighting for every loose ball.
Seemed to be that the player got there first for the Braves. Let's see who touched it last. It'll be a throw-in coming for Brebeuf. So that was Leah Berg with the extra effort. Well, that'll be a foul. So restart coming here with 12 minutes and change to go in half number 1. It was just joining us. Brebeuf got a goal less than a minute in. Allie Arena got her third of the season. Bit of a Cathedral turnover at the back. Brebeuf capitalized quickly on it. Little toe poke past the goalkeeper in Wozniak. That is, by the way, the 9th goal she has allowed this season. She had 5 clean sheets coming into tonight's match.
Great ball.
Bradford hustling down the flank. That'll be a goal kick. Well, we've talked about Cathedral's speed on the outside. Credit to Brebeuf defensively. They have mitigated that speed. In other words, Cathedral's got to that ball in front of the corner flag, but they really haven't done anything with it from that point. This will be the only match of the season between these two teams. Now playing in different classifications. They go in different directions in terms of the city and county tournament as well. Foul called against the Irish as Arena goes to ground. And a chance to throw some numbers forward here for the Braves. And Brebeuf will finish their regular season, as is always the case, with the Marion County Tournament. That's the last week of the year. For Cathedral, they'll have the city tournament the last week of the year as well, leading into the soccer postseason. What are you drawing up from this angle here, Coach?
Well, you've got, with that wind, you've got a chance at the far post. You're going to wait and see where the keeper winds up. But this is probably a ball that you're going to drive into the back of the 6.
This is Shemish that's going to take it.
Well, this is one of those ones, too, when the goalkeeper's setting the wall and on the near post, that back post just look huge right now. And when she gets back in a position, now you say, okay, all right, she's in great position right now, so it's got to be an absolutely perfect shot to get back post. It's probably a ball that's going to be driven across the 6.
Looking for a right idea, and it's spilled, but able to pick it up. Again, the same has been said on the set piece in the corners. The service has been exquisite, going in both directions.
Yeah, you want them to be threatening. The last thing you want is to have an opportunity like that in a match like this and waste an opportunity. So can you get it someplace that is dangerous?
Flags up. Just offside by a hair. So restart coming for the Irish. They do have 2 substitutions that are waiting to be brought in. They'll continue to wait. Klein will let her teammates work up the field. Ball flicked forward. Usher. Good recovery by the senior. That was Skinner that she tangled up with on that ball.
Yeah, and a great job by Skinner. She's in there serving as the second defender, the covering defender. Primary defender gets beat. She steps up in time before Usher can get another touch on the ball.
Well, there are 2 Ushers on the field. Let's mention the other one. Quinn is a freshman center back for the Irish, and she did a great job of winning that ball away from Josie Studley, because if not, she's on. She is onside and in on net, and likely looking at her 7th tally of the season. This is Quinn here that has to, again, just didn't take a chance. That's very well placed. Play it to the side. If you don't know for sure if your keeper's going to get there, kick it sideways. This is Libby Lewis. We'll knock it back towards the center of the park. Uh-oh. 2v2 opportunity here. This is Beasley. Plays it forward. Bradford. Great effort. And a foul going to be called against the Irish.
Yep, a little much.
Blackman had it covered regardless, as that ball carried him right back to Beasley. But a little too much added effort on the turn. And once again, it is Skinner doing the defensive hard work for the Braves. Klein with the read. Could be danger here. Good hustle by the Irish. Poked away by Usher, and again, that's a foul, yep. Great job by Barth. Just get in front of her.
And
somehow, some way, get in front.
And that was one, too. If she's able to avoid the foul and keep her hands down, that's a ball that may run into a corner kick for him.
And Usher, no doubt, grabbed the jersey, tried to make a turn to get her out of the player. Once had a coach told me in a sport, just be an obstacle. That's what Elise Barth just did for the Braves. Throw in coming here for the Irish. Both teams have subs awaiting, and now they'll be waved on. So one new face for Brebeuf, 2 for the Irish. And I'm not sure how deep either of these teams will go to the bench tonight, again, given the temperate conditions. Eliza Langfelt will get a breather for Cathedral. We'll try to get new names and faces to you on the fly as best we can. Lewis on the throw in. That ball could be a problem. Was there a touch there? Yes, it'll be a corner coming for Cathedral.
Well, that's impressive. About 35 yards out, throw in that leads to a corner.
Klein again will track down a soccer ball and head to the opposite corner flag. Beautiful skies behind us. We hope that continues here for 45 more minutes of uninterrupted soccer. Greg Rakestraw, Brad Hodder with you on the ISC Sports Network. Short corner played by the Irish. Step on the ball by the Braves. And then, yep, can't have that. The takedown just outside of the 18, and now you've got every option known to man from outside of the 18-yard box if you're the Irish.
I like the thought on the short corner. You had a second player for Cathedral run towards the corner. Only one player from Brebeuf came out, gave you the natural 2v1. They just misplayed the touches.
The 10-yard wall marked off.
This one's trouble. You can dial up a shot from here.
4-player wall here for the Braves. Cathedral with 7 at the edge of the 18. Going for goal. Blackman able to smother it.
It's a great save. And I tell you what, the wall was a little bit misset. You had the taller players on the inside, the smaller players on the outside. So now the goalkeeper, who's got to cover the back post, also has to watch for that ball that's lifted over the front side of the wall.
Lilly came in with 37 saves in the season, had allowed 9 goals in 8 matches, and came in with 3 clean sheets and still working on potentially a 4th in tonight's game. That is Lila Weeder. She's one of the new faces in there for the Braves. She's their lone substitute so far in the match. She does have 1 goal on the season, a freshman. From a strategic standpoint, any second half changes you expect to see here, Brad?
Well, I think there's going to be a little philosophical change if the winds stay like they were in the first half, because that's going to flip the game, flip the field position. Obviously, it's going to prevent you from just driving that ball into spaces and running onto it. It's going to hold up a little bit more. So both teams will have to change the mindset a little bit. Cathedral's going to have a little bit more freedom because that ball's going to carry. Brebeuf's got to be a little bit more careful with all the long balls because they might hold up and lead to turnovers.
Get over to win that quickly is Barth. 3 minutes now left to go here in the opening half. Brebeuf won this game last year 2-1. Both goals were scored by Josie Studley in that one. Keeper made the late decision, but I think the right one to play that ball and avoid any sort of mess at the back. Good looking ball here. Track down for it, got to the touch line. Again, looking for the hit from distance. And, we've seen several shots from outside of the 18 for Cathedral. Are they maybe being a bit impatient? Or you like what you're seeing there, Brad?
Well, I think when you look at it in the second half, that's going to be a little bit more dangerous than it is right now. Right now they're testing the box, taking a look at can they find the other end of it. And I got to tell you, right now it's being cleaned up perfectly by Brebeuf.
Good decision here by the Irish.
Oh, nice ball.
And Barth got there just in time. There has been some good eraser play by the Braves along that back line so far. Good to see our buddy Scott Pachorik there. You saw him in the shot walk past. We see him frequently at Indy 11 games. A little photography work at tonight's contest. On the throw-in, ball headed across. And
wow.
it was a good look by Amaya Usher that got quickly ricocheted away by a Brebeuf Jesuit defender.
Great flick back across the box and an incredible one-touch. Defender got in the way, blocked it. Can you get another replication of that on this?
Well, you use the phrase soccer IQ, and again, it's been on display for both sides. Ball headed down, headed again, and again, just happened to be right at Lily Blackman. That was Catherine Klein that had a good look at it. I mentioned her 8 assists. She has 1 goal on the season now as a defender. She's got to hustle back for the Irish. Wanted to use her size to potentially head one home.
And you look at how dangerous Lewis is on the throw, is able to get it just kind of at the edge of the 6, and it's obviously something that they've practiced because these last 2 have been flicked right back into the dangerous spot across the top of the box.
Again, throw in coming here for Cathedral, and you see the clock is on your screen on 2 different locations. You are playing beat the clock, and it's not a corner kick, it is a throw. You'll start to hear him count down from 10 momentarily. So it's got to be 1 touch towards the net here for the Irish. Good flick. Just need 1 boot if you're Brebeuf. There it comes. And so with that, simply not enough time really to mount another attack in half number 2. Exceedingly well played by each of these 2 teams. That's it, and that's all for half number 1. Again, the Alley Arena goal, less than 60 seconds in. So far, the only one of the match. It is Brebeuf 1, Cathedral 0. As you're watching high school girls soccer on ISC, we'll take this quick timeout. Halftime show comes your way next. Fall means football, and on the ISC, we've got you covered all season long. Catch our broadcast live on television on MyNDTV 23 and Comcast 81, as well as streaming on ISCSportsNetwork.com. With a subscription to ISC for only $4.99 a month, you get access to our entire library, viewable anytime, anywhere, on our website or on the ISC app. Don't miss a single broadcast. ISC Sports Network. Football lives here. And gets the highlights. Now he takes the look away and he puts it away. The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC, local lives here. Again, a beautiful night. We hope it stays dry here on the northwest side of Indianapolis. Greg Rakestraw, Brad Hodder with you. It is Brebeuf 1 and Cathedral 0. Our halftime show presented in part by our friends at Nando's Mexican and Brazilian Cuisine. It's a family-owned and operated restaurant in Broad Ripple. You know where the old Sangrita Saloon is located? That's where you can find Nando's now, serving fresh and locally sourced ingredients. And the folks at Nando's had no idea when they signed up to sponsor this broadcast. That is Mrs. Rakestraw's favorite place to eat.
Get out of here.
Massive fan of Nando's.
What is her favorite dish?
Page 3. Actually, that's usually my line. She actually texted it to me so I could say it. I'm afraid I'm going to butcher
do they have,
exactly what it is.
Since they have Brazilian cuisine there, do they have fried plantains?
Absolutely,
they
do.
Love
and
those.
Because this is a high school soccer broadcast, I'm not going to mention my wife's favorite drink that you can get at Nando's either. I hope I'm saying this right. Frango con quiabo, I believe is how you say it. Chicken and okra stewed in a savory tomato sauce, served with white Brazilian rice, Brazilian beans, other stuff as the screenshot cuts off. So that's what you can get at Nando's, again, in Broad Ripple. Greg Rakestraw, Brad Hutter with you. 1-0 Brebeuf leads Cathedral. It's been this way now, Brad, for the last 39 minutes. Again, you and I have been impressed with the team play, the coaching, the individual skill. It's you look at these two teams and go, yep, these are two of the best teams in the state year in, year out.
Yeah, and the one thing, it's kind of Murphy's Law. So there's been times that we've gone into a game and I've said, look, we want the wind at our back in the first half. And our players have been like, oh, no, let's take it in the second half because then, whatever happens in the first half. And I'm like, you can't trust that it's always going to be there. And right now it looks like the home field advantage for Brebeuf, the wind has started to shift in the other direction.
I love that we bring you this shot because it's so unique to high school soccer. Again, you and I are used to seeing the Indy 11. We're in a 50-minute halftime here. You go back to the locker room and kind of talk things out. In high school soccer, in 10 minutes, you're just going to sit right in front of the bench and talk. So when you are imparting wisdom, knowing you have your kids' attention for 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 at halftime at the most, what are you trying to get across here if you're Angela Berry White?
A couple things. You're talking about the elements and how that changed the game, and is it going to change and affect the second half? You're going to talk about how quickly this game changed just off of a little half moment that Alley Arena just made into a full moment and a goal. And if you blink, it's going to happen in the other direction against you. So you're really trying to dial in your players' concentration, saying, hey, just as quickly as it fell for us, it can go against us. Stay clicked in.
On the flip side, Mark Behringer has his ladies lined up on their team bench right now. And again, you see the full coaching staff having a conversation. I think Cathedral played bad. It was one moment where simply one miscue, great individual effort, and boom, it's 1-0. What's the message from Coach Behringer's perspective?
Well, you look at how many times you've had chances between Bradford and Usher coming down the right side. There's just been great interplay, and there's such great pacing there. Can you have a couple more touches from Bradford that pulls a defender in and allows a little bit more space from Usher, and she releases that ball into that pocket for Usher to run onto it?
While we have you here, for those that are maybe familiar with more of the high school soccer level and what you and I get to see 20 times a year, if not more, for the Indy 11, what's new with the Indy 11 these days?
Well, big playoff hunt right now. I mean, with 6 unbeaten, 5 wins and a draw in their last 6. The team is absolutely on a tear, moved from outside the playoff window into 5th. They take 8 teams, and now the battle becomes, hey, it looks like we're in pretty good position over that playoff line. Now the battle becomes, can we get a home playoff match? And when you look at a team at this level that's been going pretty much for about 10 months right now, the ability not to get on another plane, not to live out of a suitcase for another couple of days, not to be on a bus in a hotel, that's such a relief. Plus, we'd love to see it in person.
Brad and I get a weekend off from the Indy 11 because the Indy 11 have a weekend off. They are on the road for their next 2. That would be at New Mexico and at Phoenix. Back home for Rio Grande Valley on September the 24th, one of 2 home regular season matches left to go. Indy11.com has more. Some raindrops are being felt as we speak. We'll take this quick timeout. We'll come back with second half action from Brebeuf Jesuit High School. Braves 1, Irish 0. Back in a moment as you're watching on ISC. Fall means football, and on the ISC, we've got you covered all season long. Catch our broadcast live on television on MyNDTV 23 and Comcast 81, as well as streaming on ISCSportsNetwork.com. With a subscription to ISC for only $4.99 a month, you get access to our entire library, viewable anytime, anywhere, on our website or on the ISC app. Don't miss a single broadcast. ISC Sports Network. Football lives here. The ISC Sports Network is your home for sports content across the Hoosier State. Find us live on TV and streaming or archived on our website and our app. The ISC is your one-stop shop for the content you want to see, including high school sports, college sports, and other great events throughout the year. Subscribe to our streaming service and get access to it all. ISC, local lives here. As the rain picks up a little bit, we're going to show you some first-half highlights. They're brought to us by our friends at 317 Burger and 317 Barbecue. Get out to Indy's most exciting neighborhood for the best barbecue and burgers, both in the heart of downtown Broad Ripple at 317 Barbecue and 317 Burger. And here is the goal, the only one we have seen so far tonight.
Little give and go, missed touch by the defender, and Allie Arena just does the rest.
Again, what we have also seen then, especially from Buff, that win behind them, some long-distance chances. Cathedral has been kind of content to shoot from outside of the 18 as well in the first half.
And now you look at how things have changed. Granted, it was not a long rain, but the surface right now is a little bit slick. So now on those balls from distance, they're going to pick up pace if you can keep it low.
Just a little bit of kind of fat raindrops hitting us here at our location just above the center of the park. So with that, we'll get back to action here at Brebeuf Jesuit High School. Both teams were reticent to pull players off the bench in half number one. Playing conditions certainly help in a situation like that. We kind of look back to our west and hoping that not much in the way of clouds will continue here.
Oh, what a move.
Usher with the cutback. And around Ella Shemish. Now sends it in. Brad for the target. And quickly on to pounce for it is Ashley Preston for Brebeuf Jesuit.
He took a couple touches to Usher gets free. 3 Brebeuf players come and close her down and just really eliminate the passing lanes. Now that's good and bad. It eliminates her ability to get that ball out. But if she is able to break that press, there are open players all through the attacking third.
Good throw again, that time by Lewis. Just enough rain right now to be annoying here on the northwest side. We do need the rain. We'd like for it to start, at about 9:15, 9:20 after the game is over.
I'll take that.
Our crew has successfully torn down here at Brebeuf Jesuit High School. As always, I want to thank Ted Hampton, the great athletic director of Brebeuf Jesuit, for being our cordial host today. Thanks to our great ISC Sports Network crew. It's Morelez, Jason Porter, Becca Kelly, Matthew Stein. Thanks to Buzz on the camera to my left as well. Throw in coming here for the Braves. Thanks to both coaches for being so gracious with sharing information with us. And thanks to the unofficial sports information director of the Buffs women's soccer program. You might better know him as the host of Pacers Overtime, that being Eddie White. A very proud husband to the successful head coach here at Brebeuf Jesuit High School.
Is that where all these notes came from?
That's where all these notes came from.
Pretty detailed.
It's like Eddie may have used to run PR for the Miami Dolphins or something along those lines. Arena plays it back, but now the Irish will just kind of play a real estate ball. Hopefully a teammate can latch on to it. Flying to attack that time was Lily Brown. We didn't mention Lily's name very much in half number one for the Irish. Doesn't mean she won't make an impact in half number two. Frankly, if you're the Braves, you don't mind making this kind of a series of throw-ins. You don't mind spoiling the flow of this one. And Studley being a pest, as she has been for defenders for the last 3.5 seasons. Again, double-digit goals all 3 of her years playing for Brebeuf Jesuit.
And the thing is, too, when you have that kind of scoring prowess early on, you sneak up on nobody. So as she gets older and as she continues to put up those double-digit numbers, she's had to do it under more scouting reports, more tactical adjustments against her, defenders, marking her tighter. So, when you look at maybe the numbers that are a goal or 2 off, from sophomore to junior year, those junior ones become so much tougher to get because everybody knows you.
That's going to be a foul in the back on Brebeuf. Yep. Just a bit of a nudge in the back that time. I think that was Charlie Rudd. I'm not sure we called her name in half number 1, but that'll be a foul. So a chance for a set piece just inside where the referee's assistant is lined up on the far sideline.
And as we saw when it was flipped, how Brebeuf was putting that ball right on frame, making the keeper make a save, or making sure that she's clean with it and not spilling it in the 6.
Some loose change there, but lifted outside of the 18 by the Braves. Studley, right idea, and again there's Arena with that speed, but Cathedral got there first. That is off Arena. She keeps the play going. Studley will peel off. Can you find that sliver of space? Just couldn't one-time it.
And energy, hustle, and work rate just make things happen.
And you feel bad for Cathedral in this standpoint. They had the win in their face in half number 1. If they're going to have it in their back in half number 2, rains come, winds flip. It's right back in their face.
It's crazy. That's that home field advantage. If we were at Cathedral would have it at their back both ways.
I'm not sure with all the trees on the hilltop, wind never gets back there on the hilltop at Cathedral High School. I'm sure it does. Usher here, the hold-up target for the Irish.
I need a couple more bodies up front. Need that second wave of attack. Wow.
Tough to break down 2 defenders, but finding a way. That hit, then a second hit that both of them they'd like to have back. That is kind of the best build for the Irish so far. They led to a shot inside of the 18, as we talked about. So much of their traffic was kind of the edge of the 18 in the first half. 2 good looks, couldn't get it done.
Right, they had a line of players around the 6, and then they did get that second wave at the top of the 18. Ball pops out, they have a look, aren't able to hit it effectively. But Usher's kept on at the top of the 6 and has a second bite at the apple.
Leah Berg had it played away from her by Lily Brown. Throw in coming by Ella Shemish. Knotted down, and it will be a Cathedral throw. Clouds look a little bit ominous to our east and north, and that's okay. That's not the direction the weather is coming from.
Good flick.
And that'll be a foul deemed against Ashley Preston for the Braves. Preston, 1 goal on the season for the sophomore.
Look at how cruel this game is. When this was 20 minutes ago when Brebeuf was having this, these were balls that were driven on frame and looked dangerous. Now Cathedral's got the wind in their face as they try and replicate that.
Good looking ball here, but again, just kind of held up on a platter for the Brebeuf center back. Good ball here, but again, the Irish will get there first. And Brebeuf likes to keep that in play. Opportunity here. 4v5. Right idea on the pass. Will it hold up? No. Again, right play.
Yep. Great thought.
You touched on it. Just a little bit of precipitation. Now that ball's going to skid a little bit more on this surface than it would have before.
Great thought. And you look at the edge defender for Brebeuf. It's tucked all the way out on Bradford. That gives that space in behind. She finds it. She lays it in there just a little too heavy.
So Pearl will take the kick from the center back spot. Opportunity here. That was off a Cathedral player. That reflected off of Quinn Usher. And a throw in coming here for the Braves. And very evenly played, other than one mistake capitalized on early in the match. Jaroulis. And her speed has been fun to watch as well. She's done some more of kind of a holding midfielder role, but she's covered a lot of ground. Cathedral just unable to make a dent yet. This Brebeuf defense. If you're Brebeuf, you are very content for this game to be played in the midfield. A lot less threatening, protecting that 1-goal lead. Good take down the right side here, but again, just a lot of traffic to work through, but it will be a throw-in. Bundled up next to the corner flag for the Braves.
And you look at how well that was defended. Lewis comes out to press the ball. Oh, my goodness.
That was a 3-car pileup, and we'll stop the clock with 30-15 or so left to go here in the half. Because that's going to be a card that's going to be shown. And that card is going to be shown to Amaya Usher. They're going to deem that it was her contact that then kind of sent a Brebeuf player into the Cathedral player. So she was the last one to get there. So with that, first card of the match shown to a Cathedral player. Let's take a look. And I would agree with that. Again, it's that nudge that sent her careening into the Cathedral player in brown.
Yeah, sometimes the impact is so violent that you focus on that and you don't see that little nudge beforehand.
And Brown is coming off, but I don't think that's... So Brown heads out. And Usher stays on.
Yeah, Brebeuf was so effective in the first half with the wind at their back, driving the ball on frame. Let's see if they continue that here in the second half.
Pearl has a hit.
Great ball.
To the edge of the 6. I think that's going to be a corner. Yep. Through the corner flag, we go 10 minutes into half number 2. And thanks to our friends at Nando's in Broad Ripple, a fusion of Mexican and Brazilian cuisine. Family owned, serving fresh and locally sourced ingredients. Folks, thank the sponsors that made this broadcast possible.
Whoa.
Great speed on display by Cathedral.
My goodness.
Yep, but then, unfortunately, couldn't pull the brakes on. As Josie Skinner got clattered into. And another card is shown to the Irish. So that's 2 in short order. I believe on the far sideline, that is Beasley that was the guilty party. And again, she'll have to sub out. No, Beasley's on the field. My apologies. The second yellow of the half. Both have gone against the visiting team. That'll stop the clock also for a second time, with 29 minutes left to go before this one comes to its conclusion. Now the clock rolls. Chiroulis. Studley just couldn't get free from that defender. Berg, and done wrong there defensively. Just ran out of real estate. Emma Drury in there now for the Irish. Freshman has a goal on the season.
Well defended.
This is Libby Lewis. And Lewis, not enough in it. Referee was right in front of him.
And had Bradford just for a moment, just couldn't get the ball out from underneath her.
Now Studley will go to work. Nice step. Left foot.
Oh my
goodness. What a hit. World class from the senior for the Braves. Her 7th of the season. You and I had a bird's eye view on that one, development partner.
Goodness.
That's as good as we'll see at a professional level on Saturdays. 2-0 for the Braves.
What a goal by Studley. You take a look, and it's just Brebeuf exploiting the attacking run from a Cathedral back that opened up the space, and Studley just does the rest.
That is certainly highlight worthy for us on the ISC Sports Network. That is good as you will see at any level. She split 2 defenders, shot over a third, and then beat the 4th as in the keeper. That was simply an individual moment of brilliance.
Yeah, when you look at that and you say, oh, it went right down the middle of the goal. No, no, no. That thing had a dip on it. That's a really difficult ball for a goalkeeper because you've already got your position set, and this thing is above your head, and it's got that little bend and dip coming.
So Studley now, after having a hat trick yesterday, she had both 3 goals and assists against Covenant Christian. And that is a conference match for Brebeuf. Covenant Christian, at least for one more year, a member of the Circle City Conference. They will go to the Indiana Crossroads Conference, a league that probably has more schools of their size next year. So, Brad, how does the match change now that this is a 2-goal advantage?
Well, you really, if you're Cathedral, you really have to be dangerous right now. You've got to see if you can't equalize or pull one of them back here in the next 5-10 minutes and make that last 20 a bit of a competitive battle. You've just got this little bit of window before the psychology of the game starts taking over, and that 2-0 lead looks insurmountable.
Cathedral will use the hill for the run-up. Target was Beasley, but not much room to work with here. And a great job to keep that ball in play by the Braves. No offside flag here. That is going to be a goal kick coming. And now if you're Brebeuf, you can maybe take a little more time on these restarts and shave a few seconds here and there from the match.
Impressive thing for Brebeuf tonight is they have not missed the open pass. You know, they've got players working off the ball to create the lanes to build through, and then whether they've had time or whether they've been under pressure, they've been able to deliver that ball to the correct person at the correct weight.
In the 2 losses to local teams for Brebeuf, they had to go to Penn's against Chittard, conference match. Lost 7-6 in the penalties. 2-2 was the overall score of the match. Then lost to Guerin 3-1. Studley is the target. Good step by the Irish. So we'll work all the way back to the keeper in Wozniak, who will track that down.
Yeah, that's well defended. If you can step in front and get to the ball and get a touch before Studley does, you've got a higher chance of blowing up the play than if you let her settle that ball and then try and close her.
Good flick here. No foul given. Now we'll come back and check on an injured player. I think that's Klein that is the player that is down. But she's immediately helped back up, and I think we'll have a foul given to Brebeuf in that scenario. Here's Berg. Berg, good find, but the flick just a little too much in that one from Arena.
You love the thought Arena's coming into the middle because she wants to be involved in the play, but that's when if she stays wide and keeps that defender out there with her pace and the space behind the defender, it gives so much more of a dangerous ball for Brebeuf to play into her.
The ball will stay in play. It'll work its way all the way down for a goal kick. Some of the reserves getting some stretching and some of the miles in for the Irish. We saw just 2 Cathedral subs in the first half, 1 for the Braves. We've seen a couple for Cathedral in this half because of yellow cards. The back heel, but not out of danger for Cathedral. And you've mentioned the connectivity of the passes for Brebeuf. You haven't seen that to the same level for the Irish in this game.
No, a little bit different strategy. You know, you've got such great pace with Cathedral. You know, you're looking more to slip a player through. So when they've had those opportunities, instead of looking to build through the middle and try and manipulate things, it's, hey, can we free up one of our players to get in and to get into the attacking third with space.
Great ball by Berg to work around the defender in that scenario. Irish quickly head the ball away, and a throw in coming here for the Braves. Time to throw taken by Shemish. Headed back by Preston. Bradford.
Well settled.
And with the win for the Irish, Usher couldn't work around the defender. It will be a throw in, though, coming for Cathedral. Stays pinned inside of that goalpost, and her teammates, namely Rowan Pearl, squares off the Cathedral attacker.
It's well done. No panic. Just shield the defender or shield the attacker. Let that ball roll out of bounds for a goal kick. Not only do you then win possession, you destroy a potentially dangerous opportunity, and you draw another 15, 20 seconds off the clock.
Also like the idea of when the wind is at your back and you got a 2-goal lead. That's not the time to build from the back. Just
nope.
Hit the route one ball, and if you're going to make a mistake, make it 50 yards or more from your own goal.
Yep, especially, you know, surfaces a little bit slick.
Have I spent way too much time with a coach the last 10 years or what? If you're going to make a mistake, do it here, not right in front of your own net.
Yep.
Cathedral team that blanked all of their sectional foes a season ago. In terms of Warren Central, Lawrence North, and Lawrence Central. Went to St. Leon and beat East Central in a regional semifinal. Before then falling to Carmel in the championship game of the regional.
Here you go. They've got this dialed in. You got to believe that they practice it a lot, because the last 3 or 4 times it has been served to the front of the 6. Cathedral players found the other end of it and flicked it across into a dangerous area.
This time the throw barely gets the 18, though. Beasley, the Cathedral player that was closest to it. And if you're Brebeuf, you just want to kind of drain the life and the rhythm out of this match. Going to have more time. Everybody standing around doing nothing more than anything else. There's another flick there. Barth got there first for the Braves. It will be a corner. It's Klein that heads the corner flag for Cathedral.
If they can convert here, that's going to just breathe a whole new level of life into this game.
Got 6 inside of the box for the Irish. Every defender inside of the 18 right now for the Braves. At the edge of the 6, it was Pearl that got there first. Ball deflected back in. I think that was off the head of Arena. She's a little slow to get up, but she'll pop back up eventually. The Braves have not made a single sub here in the second half just yet. Frankly, they haven't needed to.
They've been incredibly solid defensively.
And again, this is after they played a match yesterday now. Again, a match that wasn't, you know, hotly contested down the stretch. They won 9-0, but they do have a little more miles in their legs this week than do their combatants from Cathedral. Studley.
It's a great look.
Yep, that is off the head of a Cathedral player, but it's deemed that Arena was in an offside position. She was behind the defender when that ball was sent her way.
It's one of the things you just love to see. not only does Studley have the ability to execute a ball like that, but the tactical sense and the soccer IQ to look for it.
It was Lila Dousman that hustled back to track that ball down for the Irish. Cathedral's got a pair of players that will sub in when given the opportunity. Opportunity is not yet. Throw in coming in front of the Braves bench, and now substitutes are waved on. So 2 new faces coming on for Cathedral. Libby Lewis will be one of those that gets a momentary respite. I believe it's Quinn Usher that will also take a seat for a moment too.
And, you know, you take a look, did they go to a 3-back for Cathedral, push another player up high,
Yep.
see if they can get something to generate offensively, and love that thought. You know, here you're at 18 minutes. You still got plenty of time, no reason to panic, but now you can start to make some aggressive tactical adjustments going forward.
Grace Drury that's in there as well for the Irish. Good little flick down that time by Berg. Now Edwards charging forward. Works around 2 defenders. Can she keep it in play? She does, but hits it directly at the Cathedral keeper.
And here's that moment when, you know, Brebeuf gets a little bit out of shape because they sent some midfielders forward to see if they could, you know, convert something. A little quicker distribution may allow you to exploit that space in the middle of the park.
Studley, that's being a foul on her, yep. Defenders got the right to have that space. 3 more Cathedral substitutes await to be waved in when given the opportunity. That'll be a foul against the Braves. Mark off the wall. That's also a little more time that is clicking off that clock with less than 16 to play.
And you got 2 options here. One, I think you're within range to put it on frame, but then there's also a ball you can slip between the wall and the players on the backside. There might be a ball you can lay into that space.
And that one, airmailed. That's the last thing that you can afford to do in that scenario. Make it 4 substitutions. It'll all be waved on here for the Irish. We've referenced the upcoming schedule for Brebeuf. For Cathedral, Zionsville, so it gets no easier coming up on Saturday. Irish will play at Westfield next week. They have New Pal and Garin Catholic before they get to the city tournament to wrap up their regular season. Of course, that's a city tournament that includes Chittard. Heritage Christian won the 1A title a couple of years ago as well. So some quality foes that they will go up against at some point in said city tournament. Studley couldn't keep that at her feet. Now with a bit of a shoulder nudge that time too to the senior.
It's a good battle.
Well, we have referenced the number of goals that she has scored in terms of being in double digits. Let's give you the exact numbers. The goal she scored tonight was her 49th in her absolute history. That she has done lots of and scored. Berg.
Opportunity.
Right idea in that ball, but again, Brebeuf just had every angle covered tonight.
You look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. They got 8 players.
Yep.
In a third of the field to jam up the space for Cathedral.
Studley's going to be called for being offside. And I want to thank our officials working tonight's match, and that's one thing that every sport is starting to deal with some officials shortages. Frankly, we tend not to feel that as much in the Indianapolis area as other parts of the state. There are several high school football games in the Terre Haute area that are having to be played on Thursdays or Saturdays because of a lack of available officials. So, folks, you want to do your part to help? Go be a high school sports official. Now back to the live action. You're right, partner. That was well done by Eliza Langfeld. And again, she hustles to follow it up. But Brebeuf is just cutting off. There's really been, what, kind of 2 chances inside of the 18, something the entire match for Cathedral. They were on the same ball, and both shots were somewhat scuffed.
And one of the luxuries when you get an early goal is that you don't have to get out of shape defensively. You can keep numbers back, and that way you can swarm and really compress and compact the spaces, which Brebeuf has done all night.
And how about that bit of skill by Leah Berg right in front of the home fans as well. Again, nothing comes of it from a potential scoring standpoint, but you're playing real estate with a 2-goal lead. All of a sudden, the ball is 50 yards further away from your goal because of what you do to work around a defender. Catherine McCauley, the target for the Irish. Back to cover that with Skinner for Brebeuf.
And it doesn't go in any stat book, but great job by Skinner. Just as that ball was played over the top, just a little nudge to break the pace, just to make sure, hey, if that ball does hold up, you're not getting it.
These two teams have been awfully fun to watch tonight. I want to thank the boosters, Brebeuf Jesuit High School, for having us out to be a part of the activity this evening. We'll go down to the corner flag, foul whistled against Elena Geroulis, the junior for the Braves. And again, for as much fun as this has been tonight, both these teams have 3 losses on the season. Both these teams have 2 losses to teams in the metro area, for lack of a better term. So imagine how good the level of soccer is in this area if both these teams have lost a couple of times.
No, these are 2 great teams.
Right.
And to think that there are teams out there that have beaten them is frightening.
Gets your attention, does it not? For a final time tonight, I want to thank our friends at 317 Barbecue and 317 Burger. And they're both located in the heart of downtown Broad Ripple. Guilford and Westfield, 317 Barbecue. Tremendous barbecue. And if you're going to go to 317 Burger, the All-American Burger is highly recommended by yours truly. Thanks for their support of tonight's broadcast.
You can even do play-by-play on restaurants? That's 2 right now.
I could probably do play-by-play and analyst work on restaurants and be just fine. You know, there's so many different types of burgers. You know, there's free publicity here for the folks like Working Man's Friend, Culver, or Freddy's, etc. Those would be the smash burgers. Okay. My favorite non-smash burger is kind of the thicker, fuller patty. 317 Burger. Tremendous burger.
Okay, where is that? Because that's in your backyard. I don't know that area.
That is in downtown Broad Ripple. That would be a block north of Broad Ripple Avenue and just south of the canal. Just.
How far from the shop? That's my.
A block behind the shop.
Okay, I know where that's at then.
As Brian gets free advertising in the broadcast tonight.
Does it have like a little outdoor area too?
It does.
I know the place. I haven't been there yet.
Berg.
Great touch.
Takes it towards the inside of the 18, trying to find a teammate and did. And Arena was close to getting the brace.
Great couple of touches by Berg just to wrong foot the defender and give herself an opportunity to keep that play going.
by Arena earlier was her 3rd of the season. The goal by Studley, her 7th. The sands of the hourglass starting to fly through a little bit faster. Cathedral is in danger of being shut out for just the 2nd time this season. Only their loss to Carmel did they not find the back, and then at least once. If Brebeuf can get a settling touch here, they got to look, play it to a teammate.
Wow.
That's spilled. That's going to be a corner. The keeper didn't have the luxury of looking behind her as to where that ball was. You and I did. I was going to be steered wide, but again, she couldn't take that risk.
You look at the performance by Berg tonight. It's just been very, very quiet, very, very steady, and then just explosively dangerous moments.
And Berg is only a junior. And the Braves do not need to be in a hurry here to send this ball in from the near side corner flag. Studley will offer the service again. Not only does she lead the team in goals, leads the team in assists as well. Good looking ball here. Again, keeper had to do what you could in Wozniak just to spray it away momentarily. If Cathedral can come up with this, they got to look, but couldn't do it. Brebeuf just is not, and this ball on the bounce gets in. You kind of felt that was going to be a problem. We saw that at the other end. Hey, there's going to be a hop or two that creates some problems. The unlikeliest of braces, not in terms of who got it, but in terms of the second goal that capped it off and put this one away. The Braves enjoy a 3-0 lead.
And that's just, why not? Why not hit it? And you look as a keeper, there's no way you can come out and collect it. It's outside of your range to get it. Your only chance is maybe can you get there and smother it right off the ground, or do you drop back to the line and see if that bounce is favorable for you? And it wasn't.
And it is that goal that is her 50th in her career.
Unreal.
That one. That hit from that distance. Well, big win for the Braves tonight.
I wonder if through time, you know, like how you have those fishing tails, like you come back and you maybe caught like a 3-pound bass.
In 10 years, that goal came from 86th Street is what you're
Well, what I'm
alluding
thinking
to.
is in the history of her memory, does goal 49 and 50 flip? You know, because 49 was such a magical one.
50 was have a hit and a hope and see what happens. So for Brebeuf, this will join wins against Brownsburg, Heritage Christian, Mishawaka-Marion, and Covenant Christian so far in the season. Of course, Mishawaka-Marion, just like Brebeuf, a frequent visitor to state finals in years gone by. And that is on both the boys and the girls' side. Of course, the boys coached by Carlos Zavaleta here at Brebeuf. They won the 2A championship 2 years ago. Cathedral trying to at least get one back and start there. Wins again starting to kick up. Going to take to the edge of the 18, and who touched that last? It'll be a corner coming. So corner here for the Irish.
And you look, both teams have played well tonight.
Yep.
And when you walk away with a 3-0 loss, there's always that feeling like, did we lose 3-0? And you look, and you get a goal in the first minute just off of a hustle play. Then you get this weird bounce. And so you got to make sure that psychologically you don't read too much into the scoreline when you did play well. And then if you're Brebeuf, you know, you take a look at this. You go back and you watch this tape, and there was hardly a misstep offensively or defensively.
I would describe it as Cathedral's been good. Brebeuf has been great. That is the difference, because what you just said described it perfectly.
Well, you described it perfectly because you did it in like 2 sentences, and it took me a paragraph and a half. You're more of a wordsmith. I'm kind of
you're just here for your good looks off camera? That's what you're saying?
As long as we're off camera, yeah.
So throw in coming here for the Irish. And I want to remind folks that digital downloads and DVDs are available of this match when you log on to ISCSportsNetwork.com. As the calendar flips to September, it is never to really think about those holiday stocking stuffers. Keepsakes of goals number 49 and 50, if you will.
Historical.
Throw in coming here for the Irish. Brebeuf, they're looking for a 4th clean sheet of the season. All those have been authored by Lily Blackman in goal. And Lily has done her part, but frankly has not been challenged with that much. It's going to be a handball. Ball ricocheted up off the elbow of Josie Skinner. And not intentionally, but this will hit the reset button for the Irish again. Can they get one back here? Whatever you do if you're Cathedral, it has to be done quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if Klein just has a go for it of her own accord.
Oh.
And didn't miss it by much.
That had eyes for the corner.
Brebeuf will have a substitution. So Ari Edwards will exit.
It's a good decision.
Jackie McNair in there for the Braves. Giving chase of that one. It's less than 3 to play now in this one. No need to mess with that if you're the Irish. Get the reset button. Okay, let's thank our friends at Nando's in Broad Ripple. Mexican, Brazilian, fusion cuisine. Family owned and operated, serving fresh and locally sourced ingredients. Are open for lunch, by the way. So, Brad, you can take a work lunch when you're not working on club growth and marketing for the Indy 11.
I can stop at both those places.
Absolutely.
I did that one time. I got this is probably disgusting. I got a triple cheeseburger at Wendy's at one rest stop on my way home, and then at the next rest stop I got a double Arby's roast beef. That's wrong.
And yet you're skinny.
Skinny.
Throw in coming. Well, obviously the overall result of this one no longer in doubt. It's just a matter of, is there potentially one more goal left in this one? For Cathedral, they'll lose back-to-back matches. Again, they lost to a team out of Ohio on Saturday. That's after getting a really good win against Sacred Heart out of Louisville on Friday over the course of the weekend. But frankly, you know, these are two programs because of the caliber of teams that they play. Handball going to be called against Jarulis. I don't think you're overly concerned with your overall record, frankly. It's are you healthy going to the postseason?
Yeah, you know you're going to have a run in the postseason because you've got talent. So everything in this preseason is what kind of rhythm can we get in? How can we test ourselves? How can we, iron sharpens iron? How do we play a tough schedule to make sure that we're battle tested by the time we get to the tournament?
Klein again has a hit.
Little tail on that one.
Yep, not that time. And Blackman does not need to be in a massive hurry to restart here in a 3-goal match. So Brebeuf won last year 2-1. Suddenly had braces in both of those last 2 victories against the Irish. Well, thank Buzz and Becca and Matthew and Jason and Vince and our entire ISC Sports Network crew for their efforts this evening. Throw in coming, but again, frankly, no need at this late stage. A goal less than 60 seconds in and 2 spectacular tallies by Studley. The 49th and 50th of her Brebeuf career equal a 3-0 victory for the Braves tonight. Brad, your final thoughts on this one?
2 really impressive teams. It is going to be fun to follow them as the rest of the regular season unfolds and they head into their tournaments and then the state run.
Again, some mileposts for these 2 teams. The pairing show for girls soccer and boys soccer too. That'll take place the weekend of September 23rd and 24th. Then the sectionals will start approximately 10 days after that. And hopefully a chance to see each of these two teams as we get later into the postseason. Partner, a pleasure. This is a nice of a fill in the void. We're going to work together for like 28 days on Indy 11 games. So
nice.
Let's do it again in 6 days.
Sounds
shall we?
good. Sounds good.
Our next high school soccer on the ISC Sports Network comes from Walter Cross Field in Kokomo on Tuesday, December the 12th. Flory Badunga, the Kokomo Wildcats take on the Logansport Berries. That match sponsored by Coca-Cola of Kokomo. Thank you so much to 317 Barbecue, 317 Burger, and Nando's, and our entire ISC Sports Network crew. For Brad Honner, this is Greg Rakestraw. Good night from Brebeuf. Braves win at 3-0 over Cathedral. You've been watching high school girls soccer on the ISC Sports Network.